Man, this Q&A is gonna be fun. Alright, let's see what the most commonly asked question was. Well, at least I don't have to draw it this time. Hey, I'm Red.
And I'm Blue.
In case you got confused by our unprecedented physical forms.
Which is really freaking weird.
Yeah, like... today we're here to answer some of your questions. And you guys had a lot, so yeah. we can't unfortunately deal with them all. Maybe the next time we do one of these videos, we'll yeah. Anyway, let's get started. Woo!
Roger asks, what's the creative process behind a video?
Okay, first I reread whatever I'm covering, and then I write the script at the same time. I take notes on like major events and I insert whatever analysis I want to include. Usually, because I'm pretty snarky by default, I don't need to explicitly add humor, but like sometimes I'll go through it again and spice it up a little if I'm really on point with the humor that day. Let's see, I'll record a few takes, stitch the final audio together, then I'll start drawing frames, which usually takes the most time. Then I put that all together, add some sound tracking to it, maybe some sound effects, and then, yeah, it's basically done.
For me, I try to start with the whole story, figure out what my arc is in the video, beginning, middle, end, and all that stuff. I try to put a joke in some capacity in every other sentence, whether it's, something, overt or just a funny way of saying something. It just kind of happens. I don't really plan out. Joke goes here, joke goes here, joke goes here. I just write it and think, was this funny? And then I punch up parts that aren't funny enough. So that's why some videos are really funny and some just kind of stick to the information, which is a fact of life, unfortunately. It just kind of happens. It depends on the day. First thing, of course, is writing research. I research as I write, so I'll start writing intro, start writing middle bits, and just write it down, and try to go as I write. I always like to write as I speak, so it sounds as natural as possible. Then I record it, edit it, make it sound nice. You will never hear either of us breathe in a main video. That's kind of one of our rules. Because we never breathe. We just sit there and oxygen seeps in through our skin. Osmosis is fantastic. I try to get as much in famous paintings, maps, and just visual elements as possible to make it, relevant, so that you good? Okay. So that there's actually a reason for getting images instead of drawing it myself. Because with Red, drawing it by yourself is very conducive to the style of the story. But for me, it's history, so there's already material out there. So I'm trying to bring the material that exists to you, so it makes sense. Explain it a little easier. The rest is just really other various jokes about what I'm saying or references to various things. I used to be a lot more reference heavy than I am now. I try to skirt a little away from that. Fewer memes, less dangness. The internet can only handle so much. But honestly, I just try to make as much as I can else in terms of the visual stuff, visual metaphors for what I'm talking about, so sometimes there's a little humor in that. But, yeah.
Who's your favorite classical figure / least favorite? Well, Aristotle can go screw himself. Seriously, that guy, oh god. Like that, given how his opinions on women turned out, that's probably the only way he could get screwed.
I like Aristotle's ethics a lot, but he's a super sexist piece of garbage, so that's kind of terrible. I dislike Commodus because he was annoying and he came at the end of a really good period of Roman emperors and he just screwed it up. Watch Gladiator if you'd like to know more about how awful Commodus is.
For favorites, Virgil seemed really sassy, so...
Alcibiades for the win!
Shannon, Greenall, and Aubrey ask, will you ever do Lord of the Rings summarized?
Watch it your damn self.
You guys know they're movies, right?
Aubrey also asks, have either of you ever read Euripides?
No.
Yes, don't.
Caitlin asks, what is your favorite video on the channel that you made, and what video are you most proud of? Man, honestly, I really liked Beowulf. I had my shit together on that one.
I like the intro bit for the Venice video is great because it was funny, there was banter, good editing and that. Other than that, I like the Alcibiades video because it was long and I managed to somehow make it work, but also I got a lot of fun voice acting in there with Alcibiades. Super cool, gruff, amazing Alcibiades voice. So I really like that one, yeah.
Also the Journey to the West stuff, because I never get to draw fight choreography anywhere else. So take full advantage of that when you can.
Whenever Red sent me frames of Journey to the West, I'm like, this is so cool. So
colors! Atlos asks, how long does it take Red to animate compared to older vids? Well, that depends heavily on what other stuff I need to do, because much as I'd like to, I can't actually just do this full time. So like if it's during the school year, I might just take like half an hour a day to draw several frames. And that's why it can take me like a month to put out a video, because I'm drawing like several hundred frames per video. But I've gotten faster, but the problem is at the same time I've gotten faster, I've made all the frames infinitely more complicated. So I'm just making more work for myself, and it ends up all balancing out. Go me. Oberyn asks, how do you deal with finals? Poorly.
Do your work beforehand. I mean, honestly, you can save yourself so much effort if you just do the readings, go to class, pay attention, and not try to learn an entire semester's worth of material in 3 days, because if you do, you're going to have a bad time. Magic Pancake asks, what do you do in your free time?
This.
And fencing.
Also, I sleep sometimes. Your Cat Rex asks, ever considered branching out into history and science?
Dude. I'm right here.
What are your majors?
Classics and philosophy.
Math and computer science.
It's fun.
It's not.
What do you want to do after college? Carter asks, how is Red's hair so nice?
Dynamo asks, what's your favorite poem?
The Divine Comedy. Every other answer is wrong.
I'm partial to Ozymandias.
Actually, that's a really good one too. Ozymandias is really nice. Tom asks, does Red have an art page?
No, but I have started considering it seriously, if that helps. I don't ever draw stuff for this outside of when I'm doing videos. None of my other art is related to this. It's all like stuff from things I've been writing or drawing. Why do you guys want to see this?
Tom also asks, Patreon, probably after college.
In the meantime, feel free to simply throw money at the screen.
Daniel asks, what should I do if I want to go to Yale? Okay, first piece of advice, never attach yourself so strongly to just one specific college, because or even a few, because the college application process is an absolute mess. I know this the hard way because I got accepted to only one college out of the 7 I applied for. So I attached myself very strongly to a few colleges and got a little bit screwed over for it. So there's nothing you can really do to guarantee yourself entry into one place or even a handful of places. It's a giant mess, and the best you can do is to have an interest. Dear God, please have an interest and do something with it, and just be you and be happy with wherever you go, because colleges are all really great, even if it's not the one with the fancy name or the fancy campus that you like, because, you know, it'll be okay, even if it's terrible, which it is, so.
No, but Yale's pretty sweet. I've got a friend who's at Yale, he's having a blast, so try to get into Yale.
This is what you're missing, Stanford.
Tommy Bender asks, airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow, African or European?
12.
What?
12.
No, it's... Lunar Templar asks, how do you pick video topics?
Rube Goldberg machine, they work really well.
Dartboard. Navina asks, Blue, teach us Latin.
How many years do you have and how much will you pay me?
Benjamin asks, what are your sexualities?
So my answer's a little bit, fairly run-of-the-mill. I'm a straight white guy with a girlfriend. It's great, but it's not exactly maybe the most interesting answer in the world.
I'm none of those things, including the girlfriend, except for white. Yeah. I'm 100% asexual, which means I'm not into any stuff, but I'm everything romantic, which means I'm into other stuff. Yeah, no, I'm confused too. Don't worry about it. We're all in this together. The Telekinetic Rock asks, what are you to each other?
Friends?
Friends.
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 Friendship!
Hannah asks, favorite book, favorite author, favorite movie, and favorite TV show. So I can do a top 3, Machiavelli, Dante, and Aristotle, not his sexist stuff, his stuff about friendship and morality and stuff, which is great. For books, in terms of personal history, I'm going to say The Prince, because that book is part of the reason that I started speaking out loud in class, and now I'm here, so thanks, Machiavelli.
For books, it's the most, nonsense, trope-filled BS in the world, but I really like the Bulgariad, because it's like what happens if you ask a generic printing machine for a fantasy story. I had a lot of fun with it. It was very stupid. For authors, Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, and when they worked together on Good Omens, that was dream come true.
For movies, I'm gonna cop out and say the MCU, because it's really cool, specifically Captain America's 2 and 3. If you haven't seen Cap 3, go see it already. Also, honorable mention to 21 Jump Street.
We're good.
You're an awful person.
I failed my roommate. Favorites are hard. I mean, for good, clean, mindless fun, Pacific Rim is always good.
Perfect.
Obviously, I like the entire MCU, including the X-Men movies, which don't count, but also count. For favorites, oh man, I really liked Hellboy and Hellboy 2, and I can't think of anything else that I actually really liked that didn't have any problems.
For TV, I really like pretty much the entire corpus of work that includes Kevin Conroy's Batman, so like Justice League, Batman animated series, which includes Mask of the Phantasm, which is fantastic, and also Batman Beyond. It's all really good. Oh, and Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes is great.
That doesn't have Conroy's Batman. Oh, that would be amazing though.
Can you imagine?
Oh, I'll get that, Wabbit.
What's
No,
up,
you
Doc?
won't. Not on my watch. I am an enormous child at heart, so I'm just gonna start throwing out cartoons that I watched way too old. Batman Beyond, Danny Phantom, Kim Possible, Teen Titans. Reboot, if anyone remembers that show. That was my childhood, pretty much. That's apparently all of them. Tori asks, favorite and least favorite literary devices. I like that thing where you have like the character who's a total dumbass but is secretly like a total badass. Also, the one where they're like brainwashed. Well, someone's brainwashed and then they're fighting someone who they like, but they're brainwashed so they don't like them. And like, it's the, I know you're in there somewhere, and the guy who's brainwashed like fights off the brainwashing. Friendship is my jam.
That's a good one. Oh, and least favorite, It Was All a Dream is garbage. Unless it's handled very well, like most of the time, it's complete trash.
Yeah. Sorry. Pointless deaths for shock value. If a character dying pisses you off at the author, not the characters who killed that character, it like breaks the immersion, and that's unnecessary. I'm looking at you, J.K.
Harry
Rowling.
Potter.
Yes.
Sorry, something in my throat. It was bullshit. Tayla and Francesca ask, what do you use to draw?
I have a bamboo Wacom tablet that I use for the hardware, and Clip Studio Paint is my drawing software of choice.
Sammy asks, best way to break down a book for essays?
Read through it, and then you read through it again, but slower. But like legit, read it through once, and that gets you a sense of the whole story. And then you read it through again, knowing what you're looking for in terms of themes, development, just structure, and then you build a thesis from there.
Arcs and themes, really. Try and identify the major points that are going on, like character changes, progression, thematic progression, and look for those things, throughout the book. If you know what the author's trying to do with something, you can find little interesting bits of analysis to kind of dig up, and even the most seemingly tiny interactions. So, you can get a lot of good stuff out of that.
Buffalo asks, DC or Marvel in terms of movies and comics? For movies, I have to say Marvel. I don't have to. I want to. I choose to. Because, seriously, I watched Batman v Superman, not impressed. Except for the first 6 minutes and that one bit with the CCTV footage of the Flash, that was good. Everything else I did not like. But for comics, honestly, just in light of recent events, I'm gonna have to side with DC because Rebirth looks really interesting, and that Cap Hydra thing is...
Oh my god.
Complete bullshit.
For me, I think my favorite character is Batman. We'll get to that a little bit later, but I have to say DC with regards to that. But for movies and stuff, Marvel, obviously the MCU. For TV, I like Supergirl a lot. I'm trying to watch The Flash, but I haven't really been able to finish it. Marvel's Netflix stuff is amazing. There's a lot to love. You don't have to like one or the other, but it just I want Suicide Squad to be good, but after Batman v Superman,
Richard asks, what are your favorite video games and why?
Assassin's Creed! It's great! I don't know the rest of my lines.
Shadow of the Colossus. The soundtrack, the aesthetic, the crazy boss designs, the melancholy. Oh, and the growing concern that you might actually be the bad guy all along. That's always a treat.
Shadow of the Colossus is fantastic, but Assassin's Creed is the reason I'm sitting here doing this, because I find history interesting because of Assassin's Creed. So woo! And it's also a fun game.
And I failed to resurrect my girlfriend after killing 16 Colossi, which is why I'm here.
Rage Deluxe asks, is a legit Les Mis video going to ever happen? No, there's a movie.
If I ever work up the energy to read that doorstop, then maybe.
Well, my drawing's not good enough. Longshanks asks, how much research goes into the videos? How much is already known?
Well, usually I already know a bunch about the source material, but I don't want to be wrong, so I double check. So I guess I research all of it, but I already sort of knew half of it.
I have sort of a broad base of knowledge beforehand because of my major, mostly, which is great. So, the history stuff is all, sort of based on what I know originally. The podcasts are, entirely all off the top of my head. No notes, no prep, nothing. For the Plato one the other day, I just sat down and did it. It was great. For the history summarized, I usually go and check my facts with Wikipedia to make sure like dates and stuff is correct. Wikipedia is not that bad. You should not try to write a historical paper based on it, but if you're just doing basic fact checking to make sure that you know what you're talking about, it's honestly okay. It's not a crutch, it's like more of a band-aid, but it is okay, it has merit. Red Gallo asks, Blue, wanna do a video about the Tudors? Red Gallo asks both, anime, favorite anime? I'm really bad, the only one I watched was Naruto.
Oh god, where to start? In terms of a well put together story, my number one anime is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, because that thing is a work of art. But I'm gonna have to go with sentimental value, because the first anime I ever watched was Inuyasha. And I will talk about how stupid that show is until the day I die. But if anyone else does, only I get to on the things that I love. Anna asks, what's with the broken animation links on Shakespeare videos? Yeah, that's my bad. In my senior year of high school, I did this animation called Firebug, about this little sentient flame, and it was really fun, but, I put it up on YouTube before the YouTube channel was really gotten going. It didn't really have a theme yet, and when my channel got a theme, the video stopped really fitting, so I set it to private. It's still online. I can reset that if you guys really want to see my poorly animated attempt at representing fire with an animation program that only allows you 2 layers and no fancy brushes. But yeah, so that's what's up with that.
Eliana asks, do you actually read everything you cover?
Yes. That's kind of the point.
Blue Alice asks, could you do more Shakespeare and Greek mythology?
Yes.
Army Men Stop Motion asks, all quiet on the Western Front?
Maybe?
We were already thinking of doing stuff like half history, half, classics. So, I can talk about World War I, she can talk about the actual book. So, yeah, in theory.
Combining our powers. Beatrice asks, if you could have one wish, what would it be? I want to say something philanthropic, but it's going to be polite.
World peace, failing that telekinesis. Tronjet asks, modern events. Well, I'm generally sticking to the stuff I know right now. Honestly, it's mostly pre-Reformation era stuff, like Ancients to Renaissance and everything sort of in between. I'm working with the Venice thing. I'm trying to branch out into more modern-y stuff because Venice takes you through the Enlightenment. So, yeah, in theory I can do that, but honestly, most of the modern history stuff, like World War I, World War II, Cold War, is already done.
Jobin asks, if you went back in time to Shakespeare's time, what would you say to him? Be straight with me. Did you write Titus Andronicus?
Was there a bulk sale on frilly collars or something?
Wild Person asks, what did you think of Harry Potter?
The Latin is actually surprisingly good. Everyone says it's bastardized Latin, but it's not that bad.
I liked it, but Rowling's world building kind of falls apart when you look at it too closely, and also, you know how I feel about characters dying for shock value. So, yeah, Book 7, not my favorite. T.I. Mai says, Red, how did you develop such a broad scope of literary understanding? Bottom line is, I had a lot of books and no TV as a child. Also, when I was too young to read them on my own, my parents read me a lot of really cool books. Some of the epics, the Mahabharata, the Journey to the West, the Bible this one time, that was neat. Yeah, you can't help but get interested in that stuff when you have someone reading them to you and explaining to you what's going on and why they're cool. Oh, the Tane. The Tane was another one that I got read to. That was neat, because Kukulin gets up to some crazy shit. I was my mind was getting blown as a 5-year-old. But yeah, childhood indoctrination. Teach your kids.
T.I. Mai, or Ty Mai, not Tyler, sure, says Blue, same, but for history. So I hated school for most of school, honestly. It may be surprising, but it's true. Until mid-high school, I didn't really care about history at all. But I had a couple really good teachers who showed me the way, and now I think history's cool. In college, I took a lot of classes with great professors who made history fun and interesting and really neat, and Assassin's Creed honestly helped a lot because living inside of history is really interesting in a way that reading a textbook is just terrible. So Herodotus would be crying if he saw the proliferation of textbooks in modern education. It's a shame. But it just, good teachers and good ways to get into history piqued my interest and made me want to learn more. So kind of the same for Red.
Yeah, that's another question. And Sean is cool. Same question. Red, favorite genre? Jeez. For genre, fantasy and urban fantasy, because You can't go wrong with sword and sorcery, and I am always a huge sucker for like mythology and folklore getting incorporated into the modern day.
TMI says blue favorite moments in history, and I'm tempted to say the Athenian victory over the Persians in both wars because it's really cool just seeing the empowering story of Athens, who was an absolute nobody. Like they were second or third tier power before the Persian Wars, and they have this seemingly like impossible victory over the Persians. It's really cool, even though they were jerks afterwards. It's a really neat story to seeing them win twice over such an impossibly huge enemy. That or the Republic of Pirates, because that's just really cool. Joshua asks, blue, favorite dictator? I have to say Caesar, because he actually wasn't evil unlike most of the other dictators. In ancient Rome, dictator was just someone who organized and directed and like administered things. He wasn't a bad guy as far as we know. I mean, he may have been a little power hungry, but all of his reforms were very, middle of the road, moderate, and just good for everyone in Rome. So he was like a good, effective, nice guy dictator.
Friend-zoned again by the Roman Empire. Joshua also asks, Red, besides Dragon Ball Z, what anime have you watched? I mean, like I've watched parts of a lot of it, but not much of it stuck with me, so I'm just gonna rattle off the ones I actually remember. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Inuyasha, we've covered those. Soul Eater, I really liked. Yu Yu Hakusho, that was like a throwback and a half. Yu-Gi-Oh! In the original Japanese is surprisingly compelling, in the English, very good to laugh at. Rurouni Kenshin, love that show.
Tayla asks, blue, how many languages do you speak? So I am a really, really terrible polyglot. So I know English, which should be apparent. I took 3 years of Latin in high school, so I have a background enough to make learning Italian, which I did after that, really a lot easier. So if you give me, a phone to look up the odd word, I can translate probably a decent amount of inscriptions that you'd find, out and about in Roman places like that. Italian, again, conversational with a little bit of practice. So I could, survive if you just dropped me in the middle of Italy and made me get a place to stay, get food, get a plane ticket, get home. My standard is, if I can be dropped in the middle of the country only speaking that language, would I die? And if the answer is no, I think I'm okay with the language. Same goes for French. If I had a week of practice, I could be up at about that level, probably, maybe. And then Greek. I'm taking a course over the summer, so I'll learn more, but right now I can read it aloud, and if you put it in front of me, I can, know some words.
Speak Spanish and a little Japanese!
Richard asks, plans for the future?
Pass my finals, then sleep.
Study ancient Greek over the summer, go back to school, nothing.
Natasha and Matheus asked if I'm gonna do the Mahabharata, and yeah, when I get the time. I mean, that epic holds a special place in my heart as the originator of the 5-man band trope, so like, I really want to do that justice, and also, it's a doorstop and a half, so it's gonna take me a lot of energy to read through it and script for it, and I'm not sure if I can do it in one video, so it'll probably have to be a mini-series. But yes, I do want to do it. After I get through Journey to the West, that's next on my crazy long epic list. Cinemalover asks, how could I steal a car without murdering the owner? Obviously steal a car that isn't currently occupied. Jesus.
Patience is a virtue.
I mean, haven't you ever played GTA? You stand next to it and press triangle.
Duh.
David asks, are you hot? I don't know. You tell me.
Why don't you ask this blue steel? Anna asks, if you ever write a book, what kind of book will it be? Surprise, I am writing a book. It's actually really cool. It's about philosophy. I wrote my own philosophy over the course of 2 years, and I'm compiling it, putting it together. It'll be really cool. It'll be out over the summer. I'll make a promo for it. But yeah, I wrote it myself with my own 2 hands.
Comic book, because reading is for nerds.
Yes.
And I'm also working on it, just slower. Samuel asks, will you continue making videos together post-graduation? I mean, probably.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Poseidon asks, what bands/musicians do you guys listen to? I mean, loads and loads of movie soundtracks and the occasional foray into classic rock.
For me, it's kind of like video game soundtracks, Vitamin, String Quartet, occasional other stuff. It's a giant mess on my phone. Don't try to decipher that. Not fun.
The cartoon physicist's Notit list asks, what inspired your sense of humor? I mean, that's a toughie because I became funny as a defense mechanism.
Yeah, same actually.
So I guess middle school.
Yep.
Yo asks, Red, where/how did you learn to draw? Keep going, okay, it is all thanks to my mom. She's a fine artist, classically trained, and when I was very little and just starting to scribble, potato-shaped figures on printer paper, she decided she was going to help me hone that interest and taught me how to draw. And I was supremely ungrateful about this for the time. But she taught me everything I know, and she kept me interested in art through 9 years of middle school and some of the worst art teaching I've ever experienced. And I mean, more importantly, she didn't teach me how to draw only. She taught me how to improve my own drawing. So she taught me how to learn from the world around me, learn how to portray things better just by observing, which I think is more valuable than just teaching someone a skill, is teaching someone how to hone that skill on their own. Bottom line, thanks, Mom. Love you.
Flatflow asks, Greeks or Trojans? So this is kind of tricky. I think that, I mean, if we're talking characters here, we have to say Hector because he's really the only sympathetic character really in the entire war, so I guess Trojans?
But the bromance, it's gotta be the Greeks.
No, but I mean, the thing with the Trojans is that Hector is, you have to see what...
Flatflow asks, favorite circle of hell? I've decided that I like the river Styx best because it's basically just a giant river full of people punching each other, and I think that fits my personal aesthetic very well.
I'm gonna go with Limbo because all the really cool people are there.
Flatflow also asks, favorite religious or mythological deity? I am a big fan of Anansi because it takes a special kind of ballsy to screw with death and actually survive the process.
I'm a fan of Apollo because he's all the high culture stuff, and he's one of the only gods with that some overwhelmingly asshole-ish trait about him, so Apollo.
T-Diz asks, what sets you apart from other college students? Well, obviously it's my dashing good looks and Blue's dazzling beauty.
I mean, honestly, we like what we do, and we're really interested in the stuff we're learning about in school and outside of school. I mean, I'm generally interested in, like, what I'm talking about, and I think I can really go a long way, so, yeah.
Also, I can do a handstand. Lonely Potato asks, favorite Norse god?
I'll go with Odin.
Ooh, Freya, because she's the goddess of love and beauty, but also like war and death, which is awesome. Super Notit asks, favorite language?
Italiano.
I mean, I like languages I can speak fluidly, so English.
Italiano. I am, what's his name? Banderas. Antonio Banderas.
What's his name? Banderas?
I almost said Javier Banderas.
Get out!
I'm sorry.
Skeletons ask, where did truly a victory for the forces of justice come from? I needed a really bombastic way to say, way to go, smart guy. Penny asks, what fictional character do you most identify with? MCU's Thor, because I too have fabulous hair and rarely know what's going on.
I'll say Cap because beyond my snarky exterior, I'm a serious goody two-shoes, like annoyingly so.
Favorite color? Take a wild guess. Ash asks, red. Favorite/least favorite Shakespeare play? Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with A Midsummer Night's Dream for the favorite, because, man, I'm a sucker for all that cool fairy stuff. And for least favorite, definitely Taming of the Shrew. Like, seriously, Shakespeare, what?
I like The Tempest.
Ninja Nia asks, why do you appear in drawings rather than how you really look? It's much more low maintenance.
Drawings don't need food.
Or showers. How do you guys know each other if you go to different colleges?
High school.
High school.
Next question. Olivia asks, why aren't you married? In general or to each other?
You need to be specific. Tycho asks, you both studied Latin, right?
Yes.
No.
No.
The Only Iron Savage asks, why don't you cover popular books and movies? Because you don't need our help to get invested in those.
And watching movies is, fun fact, stunningly easy. Chill Ryan asks, what is your favorite number of the alphabet if it was red? Not an Addict asks, what channels similar to your own do you guys enjoy?
I mean, there aren't that many channels similar to our own.
I like Treacicle, Thug Notes, Every Frame Painting, yeah, I think that's about it.
And I like channels not similar to our own, like Game Grumps.
And Funhouse.
And yeah, Apollo asks, what do you think is the best video so far?
The one of the moon landing was pretty cool.
I like the one with the goats singing Katy Perry. Rexy asks, any social media we can follow you on?
Yes! Oh, you want specifics? You can follow us on Twitter at OSP YouTube, link in the description.
And now, an absolute buttload of questions from one of our long-term subscribers, MC Jethro POVT. What do you feel about the rising popularity of dystopian young adult fiction? I'd be happier if it wasn't all the same.
I mean, it's cool because you can see that it's like the dominant form of, like, it's the dominant genre in our, like, modern literary conscience. You can kind of see that we all think the world's going to hell, so that's, I guess, interesting for that.
Apparently we all hate the government and want to date hot, grumpy boys who see us for who we really are.
This is not news.
Did you read A Song of Ice and Fire? No.
No.
Follow-up question, do you watch Game of Thrones? What season are you in? No.
No.
Follow-up to that follow-up, do you read alongside the TV series or read all the books and then watch the series? No.
No.
Do you play Pokemon?
No.
Do your teachers watch your great videos? If they do, what do they say about it? If they don't, why not? Yes! Ha!
Actually, I have an answer to this. So, I sent a lot of Red's classic summarized videos to my professors because it was all of the books that we were covering in class, and they thought it was really cool. So, I actually sort of, landed a quasi-commissioned job to do the prehistory summarized science videos, and then also the historical models summarized were all sort of for class for an honors project kind of thing. So that was really great. Yeah, my professor thought it'd be good to do it in video form, so I did. And it's cool because our professors like what we do, and I think we know a lot of educators use our stuff in class, so it's a little bit of pressure. But yeah, we're glad that professors like what we do because that means we're on the right track. Sev asks, if you were given a chance to rewrite history, what era, country, and why?
First order of business, save the Library of Alexandria.
Oh my god. You have no idea how collectively smarter as humans we would be if we just had this one building. Beyond that, it would have been really cool if the Republic of Pirates actually survived. Like, if that worked and they moved into, Central America or something, that'd be really cool.
How did Blue escape when Red trapped him in the brick wall with the cask of Amontillado?
So the ninjas broke me out because only they are allowed to defeat me.
When will Blue finally defeat those ninjas? Next time on Dragon Ball Z! How did the OSP channel come about? / what inspired us to make the videos? Well, I always found reading, get this, tremendously boring. Like, wow. But like, when you dig into it, the material is actually really interesting. And it's like buried under layers of cultural dissonance and like really hard language. And like, I wanted to put something together that let people like access the interesting stuff in the stories so that they could actually get interested in the material without having to like dig through layer upon layer of nonsense to actually get there.
So she was doing that, and for me, when she was working in the middle of the Dante videos, I had just had a lecture on Greek history from a really awesome teacher, and he made it really cool and funny, and I thought, well, I guess I could do a little one-off video. So it turns out that making jokes is really fun, and I stuck with it because I like talking about stuff, and I know that I've had a lot of fun with it, so it's been great. Our videos are definitely no substitute for doing the actual work. But I figure if we can, make someone's day a little bit more entertaining and brighten it a little bit and teach them something, that's awesome. So, why not do it?
Next question. Finally, how are you guys generally? Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
That was the last question.
Woo!
Okay, let's fucking... Well, that is unfortunately all the time we have for today. Thanks for asking your questions, guys. It really means a lot.
Yeah, it's really cool to think that with 8,000 subscribers is insane. We had no idea we'd get this far and that people would actually care about our answers to questions. So this is really cool. So thank you for being on this whole journey thing with us. It's really awesome.
It's amazing. 8,000, holy wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
I don't even know 8,000 people.
No.
Anyway, yeah, so thanks for asking your questions, and see you in the next video.
If we do not get your question, please tweet us,
yes.
And we'll be happy to answer it there.
Our Twitter, which we have now.
At OSP YouTube.
OSP YouTube.
Follow us.
Sometimes I say funny things.
And I don't.
Anyway, bye.
Bye.